Trade-in of the week, brought to you by Best Buy.
Hey, Mike, what's up?
I'm going to Best Buy to trade in Brink and Forza 3 for a Best Buy gift card.
Cool, man.
What? Matt,
What's up, homie?
we need to talk
About?
how Child of Eden is, what, 1999 euros? And it's half the price of the Xbox 360 version. What gives?
Why are you freaking out? Do you think it's because it didn't sell very well and now they got to compensate for it, or do you think it was planned that way all along?
I don't want to admit it didn't sell well, but it looks like it
Why
did.
not?
Well, because it sucks.
Why do you deny the truth?
I deny the truth because I guess I like that game a lot, and it kind of bothers me to see that it didn't do well.
Right. So I'm seeing that from a lot of people over the past few days, and I guess I have mixed feelings because this kind of goes back to like the game fan days for me, where I always see them complaining about like these great games in Japan that never came to the U.S. And then sometimes those games would come over to the U.S. and they wouldn't sell, and they'd come up with some kind of like retrospective logic to be like, oh yeah, it was actually some great thing, and we're being punished because it didn't sell. And a lot of people are talking about like the marketing for Child of Eden and Shadows of the Dam, which also sold similarly not so well, is kind of responsible for those sales. And I think definitely you could have sold more copies if you had marketed them, but would the cost of the marketing equal the cost of the sales? I don't know. So like, where's your frustration? Like, how does this affect you negatively?
I mean, it affects me negatively because I feel that both of these games, I mean, you can say what you want about Shadows of the Dam, but most of them represent sort of cool creative ideas that come out of Japan, and it's true that both of them are not entirely new. They're both sort of updated concepts on things we've seen
we're
before.
talking on a podcast how like Child of Eden, basically 10-year-old game. It's cool. It's much prettier.
Very cool.
Same thing with Shadows of the Damned, except it's got a different kind of style to it. More dick jokes. That's what you get in 2011.
Well, what I really wanted to see, though, was if these two games perform well, we'll continue to see stuff coming out of Japan that is as cool or maybe even breaks new ground. And so immediately I'm going to worry, man, in the future, what is this going to mean for other games? But you're right, where was the marketing for both of these games? I saw online ads for both for the most part, but what about TV ads? What about like pushing that stuff out there to more mainstream audiences? Then again, maybe they're just not very mainstream games.
I feel like in the case of Shadows of the Damned, you had to kind of just cut its losses at some point. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had canceled it a year ago or whatever. It had been in development for a long time, and it wasn't like a guaranteed big seller. It was kind of a risky kind of game off to the side. It didn't, like, if you look at those characters, that doesn't seem like something that's going to really sell.
It doesn't really seem like anything EA's published before either, to be fair. Yeah.
But the Child of Eden is interesting to me because it seemed like the time, like the 10 years or so since Rez had come out, had given that game enough of a kind of cult following that maybe it would have done a lot better this time. Like, it seemed like it had a chance to kind of overcome that with like the Kinect marketing and everything tying in together.
Or even the Move, which comes out later when it comes out to PS3 in September.
True, right, which is what you're bitching about.
Yes.
Right, but I think and maybe because it's a Kinect-focused thing, it might have a longer tail than some games, because a lot of those more mainstream-focused games don't sell as much day one as they do over the next couple months. So that could be a good excuse for it. But mostly, I'm just worried that, like you say, this will affect what kind of games we get in the future. Like, will Q not get as many publisher contracts for similar games? If they want to do a new Luminous or a new something else, like, would that be a problem in this new market?
Okay, but let me ask you this then: Who do you place the blame on? I mean, at the end of the day, where does that blame fall?
The blame for them not selling well.
Sure.
I don't think it's as simple as you can say any one person or any one company, because if you look at like say Shadows of the Dam, if you blame EA for that, first of all, I don't know what was in the contract. EA Partners has different contracts per developer, per deal that they make. So maybe it was more on them to make that call after the fact, or maybe that had been set up front, like we were going to put X number of dollars towards the budget. Maybe it changed along the way, because that game took longer to make than they initially planned.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of one of those that got caught in this time warp where, since the timeline changed, kind of like Syndicate currently is going through, maybe the marketing and stuff changed as a result of that. I don't know. But it's kind of tricky.
It's a sad day, though. I mean, maybe down the line, we don't know if this price change affects America. It's easy to assume that it will, right?
I don't know. It seems like the kind of game that you'll be able to get cheap in a few months. Like whether you're on 360 or PS3, it seems like you'll be able to play Child of Eden for
It might be even
20
either one.
20,
Yeah,
$30. Yeah,
you might see
exactly.
the same from Shadow of the Damned.
Well, so everyone was also talking about Child of Eden being a short game, so like maybe it should have been a downloadable game to begin with, and that's another kind of time warp thing where this same game 10 years ago you could charge full
it was
price.
the same
but now,
problem 10 years ago with Res. There were plenty of people who complained and bitched that Res was too short.
Yeah, but I think you could get away with a couple-hour game back then, whereas these days you have this whole other market of 2-hour games that are all kind of $15.
And they're all downloadable.
Yeah, like something like Journey, everyone's saying like that's going to probably be a longer game than Child of Eden was, and it's a similar kind of.
Well, will it let me?
You want to see my
control it
Child
with
of
Kinect?
Eden impersonation of me
Sure,
playing
go
on
ahead.
Kinect to close out this little video segment we're doing here?
Sure.
It's a good game, right?
Yeah.